everybody. Welcome back to Rolling in the Ozarks, a podcast about wargaming in the Northwest Arkansas area. We're glad to be back and bring you our new episode. I need to apologize about something real quick. The reason that we didn't have an episode this week on this past Monday, we were going to do this with our good friend Cox here, who we're going to introduce in just a second. I recorded it and I made a mistake and it didn't work very well. The sound audio was just inefficient and didn't work. So that was on me and I apologize. However, we're here. It is April 22nd, Earth Day, if I'm correct.
It is Earth Day.
Great. Right. Awesome. And I'm here with the original cast on our very first episode. We got Randy, Hubble, and Jay McBride. How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Yeah, no complaints here. Life's pretty smooth.
Excellent. And we also have somebody very special with us, somebody that hasn't been on the podcast before. And this is his first episode, and he's going to deliver us some great content because you know what? We've actually recorded it before, and we know how good it is. And this is our second attempt at it. So, Jonathan Cox, how are you, sir?
Howdy, folks.
We're all here to deliver you some wonderful content, some great conversation. So, my first question today to everybody out there on the panel is, what are you currently working on in the Warhammer life cycle or Army games or war games cycle? Like, what's everybody working on? Randy, let's start with you.
I know, I guess 2 weeks ago now, I said I was going to start working on some Skaven. Primed up a bunch of Skaven. I lied about that. I'm working on Blood Bowl right now, Dark Elf Blood Bowl team. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'll post some pictures on our Instagram account and what I'm doing. I got about 4 guys painted out of 10. So yeah, looking forward to the start of a Blood Bowl kind of community that's growing here, and got them all painted up.
Excellent. Hubble, what about you?
Well, I've been doing basing for my Maggot King and the green stuff. I got like approximately 80 bases that I need to do. And so green stuff, roller, and just getting it all going with it. And then I also traded in my Tyranids and Cruel Boys to Games Explosion because I am getting ready for cities. I'm really getting ready for it. I need to get 5 cog forts. And I'm going all into cities. So, you know, there's only one way, and that's through some sacrifice by trading in the 2 armies I have never played. I have owned those Cruel Boys since the Dominion box, and I never played them. I had a full army, and I have a whole bunch of Tyranids, and I've never played the 40k. So I was just like, all right, trade them in. I'm gonna get the stuff that I'm actually gonna play with. But other than that, we got an RTT this weekend at Games Explosion that I am very excited for.
Yep. Jay, what about you?
Yeah. So I've been working on some Seraphon. So I continue to be making my way through my writing dinosaurs backlog. Most recently, let's see if I can bring it up here. So I'm working on some Hunters of Quan Chi, which I will snap some photos of to send to Randy so he can post them. I am very much not a painter by trade, but I do try to paint. So working on those guys, and then I've got another 10 batch of Saurus Warriors to paint. And I will also send, located like right there in my blurred background, is my Blood Bowl. I say it's Hubble's Blood Bowl team that he's loaned me of dwarves painted, I think, in the Eagles color scheme is what I did. So I'll send some photos of those. But yeah, that's been the process, is just trying to make it through the Seraphon backlog. Oh, I also taught a kid how to prime minis today. So it's fun. He is just starting his Warhammer journey, and he was like, oh. So I bought these these Infernus Marines that come with the starter kit from Leviathan. What do I do? I was like, oh babe.
I was there when I was first starting. I was like, what do I do? Man, and you don't even know that you just get a rattle can and spray paint it. That's all it is.
That's exactly what I told him. I was like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take you've built them. He said, I built them. I was like, great. You're gonna go to Walmart. He said, Walmart. And I was like, you're gonna go to Walmart. You're gonna go to the spray paint section. You're gonna buy the $3.50 black spray paint primer. Knock that sucker out and paint your little salamanders. He's like, but what about the color forge? I was like, all right, listen, you don't need that. $5.50 Rust-Oleum
Rust-Oleum.
2-time primer. Rust-Oleum sponsor us.
You know what? You should have stolen too, though.
I
Like,
would go for that.
if you want to make money streaming, though, it's like when you're a painter, you don't use the cheap stuff. You use all the sponsored stuff they give you.
This is true.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
If Color Forge wants to sponsor us,
hey, we will totally paint everything with your paint.
Already shilling in the beginning.
So, Cox, what about yourself? What'd you do in Warhammer lately?
I have been trying to find a color scheme I like for the Andrasta I'm painting for my wife. I told her a while back I was going to paint something for her desk because she's a high school art teacher, and so I have the Andrasta, and I'm trying to find a color scheme that I like to paint that up for her.
That's beautiful. And if you find a good one, please let me know, because my Andrasta needs to have a paint scheme, and I want to see some Andrasta ideals. Like I already have like some blue wings on her, but I don't know what to do with her.
Yeah, well, it's such a good model that you really need to like have a complete idea of what the finished product is going to look like before you throw in one wind, and just be like, I don't know, this color and that color, because it could be really easy to just end up off a cliff somewhere.
Well, some of you mentioned Blood Bowl, and I didn't sign up for the league because I didn't know if I was going to have. Is it going to be May through June? Is that when the league was going to be?
I don't know the exact end date. All I know is it starts May 1st.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha. So I didn't know if I was going to have time for it, but I will say this. I don't really trash talk in many sports or many games, but Blood Bowl is one of them. There are 2 games in the Warhammer universe that I am so good at. One of them is Warhammer Underworlds. That's my jam. I know that field. I know that card build. I know how to use those war bands. My other jam in Games Workshop is Blood Bowl. I've been playing that since I was a kid, and I will beat you. I know how to play the game. I know how to play at least 10 different factions of that one. I know how to use elves, undead, chaos. I know how to use everything. I know how to beat you. I am so good at Blood Bowl. And I never brag a lot. And this is the one thing I'll brag about. And people that have played Blood Bowl against me, they're going to be people that will someday they'll pick up this podcast and they'll be like, yeah, he's right. He knows how to play this game. He just gets it. And I wish I would have signed up for the Blood Bowl League.
It's such a fun game. I mean, it's a game you don't really take yourself seriously at because it's just random things happening all the time. So, I mean, sometimes you're going to roll bad and you're going to have 3 of your starters die on the field. But it's such a fun game. I wish more people played it.
It's so fun. And you say people don't take themselves seriously? Dude, I'm going to take myself so seriously at that game. It's not going to be funny. People are going to look at me like, why are you relishing this? Because I know that I'm better than you at this Blood Bowl game.
I'm better than you, and I know it.
I'm not even kidding. I'm a way different player when I play Blood Bowl than when I play AOS. It's way different.
Toxic Gentry comes out.
It's super toxic, yes.
Evil Gentry.
I call you out on rules. I say, oh, well, you should not do that because it's like a chess game for me because I'm like, well, you made the wrong move like 4 moves ago, and I'll let you know.
All right, so we have the City of Ash. It is a Spearhead duo box with cities and Skaven. I'll cover the cities part here. It is going to have the Grenadiers, which is the one with the Flamer guy. And then they have the Heavy Infantry 5-man squad. And they have the Foot Priest and Jorvan, the one with the kitty cat. I think that, we need to really start playing some more Spearhead just in general, being able to, get the new players in. But looking at this box just from the outside looking in, this board and the setup of this Spearhead more appealing to me, just from a visual perspective. So I'm really excited for the Saves Ash. I know I'm getting it and I'm splitting the box with Herba. So it's great. I'm excited for it.
On the other half of that box, you got the new Skaven models coming out. Basically, it's an update to Clan Eshin. That's going to be your ninja rats, and you got new Night Runners, Gutter Runners, the new Deathmaster. I don't know how to say that name still. I think it's Crixit, and it comes with 2 bomb rats too. But in association with this, you also get the new was it Battle Supplement? Yeah, Battle Tome Supplement as well for Skaven. It's called they get the Kill Pack. The rules: pick an enemy hero to be the target for the rest of the battle. If that target has been destroyed, add 2 inches to the move characteristics for friendly Eshin units. Yeah. How I feel about that? Meh. I don't like battle formations that have basically a requirement for you to hit before it becomes effective. Because, I mean, I know Eshin is, like, thematically, this is amazing. This is what Eshin wants to do. They want to kill heroes, assassinate them. But for, like, playing the game, I don't think it's a good rule. But I do like the new War Scrolls we got for the new Deathmaster hero. His profile looks pretty fun. 13 attacks, 2s and 4s, crit mortals, Ren 2 on heroes, and damage 2 on heroes. That's gonna be pretty brutal. I do like the little bomb rats that the Gutter Runners have. I think it's hilarious just to be able to send 2 rats to go do mortal wounds to somebody. That's awesome. And I like the little models too. Overall, the upgrade looks amazing. If you ever saw the old kits, you would say, wow, this is a major upgrade. So I'm looking forward to getting some of the new stuff. And I just got into Skaven, so I never had no Clan Eshin models. So I'm looking forward to that. I get to hop in right when the new stuff pops out.
All right, Jay, talk to us about the OBR.
Yeah, so fun fact, I have a deep and abiding love of OBR. They're my second favorite death faction, behind my wondrous knights. So the battle force is looking real good. I'm not going to lie to you. At least from where I sit, it looks fantastic. You're getting in this an Arkin the Black, which if you are somebody who also has a Soulblight army, you could build him as a Manfred or as an Neferata. You're getting a Mortison Soul Mason, who's a great foot hero, does lots of fun stuff. And then you're getting 4 of the Morghast and 20 Mortek, which are Mortek are just your basic infantry. They're solid little dudes. They have a good time. It's really the Morghast that get nasty. You can build them either as the Archai or as Harbingers. Harbingers have that incredible 3d6 charge that's just passive, so they just get to throw it out all live long day. And I mean, they're chunky, big, kind of monstrous infantry. I think it looks like a pretty solid battle force if you're looking to get into OBR. Gives you a little bit of everything, and then you also could build off of it with some other of their boxes. I think having Arkin included is stonks value, just because you just build the base for it, and then hey, you've got 3 different Mortarchs. They all sit on the same base and do all the same thing, which is like fun. Yeah, if I were getting into OBR, probably what I would go for.
Jonathan Cox, the Trash Man. First of all, can I ask you a question? Why do they call you the Trash Man?
I have a deep and abiding affinity for trash units. I like all of the little gribblies and the little idiots that stand places. You know, if it costs 50 points and doesn't do anything, but it stands in a place really well, it's the love of my life.
Okay, thank you. I needed to know that. So Cox, like, could you tell us like how you got into Warhammer and what brought you to this point in AOS right now?
Yeah, sure. Like with most things, you can blame Sean. I have been playing tabletop games for this is the 30th anniversary of when I started playing tabletop games. I started playing D&D many moons ago. I have been playing Games Workshop games for 12 years. It started with Mr. Schoen being like, "Hey, Cox, come play 40K with me." And for a couple of years, I was like, "Yeah, no, nah." And he finally convinced me to pick up a secondhand orc army from a guy that is a professional painter over in Oklahoma. I think it's Beard and Brush or Brush and Beard is his name of the paint studio that he does. Anyway, I picked up a secondhand orc army from him at the end of sixth, beginning of seventh edition at 40K. Played 40K for 10 years as orcs, 3 years as sisters, and then Sean decided to switch games, and he's like, "Hey, Cox, come play this new game with me." And I cannot tell my brother no. So, here I am.
You are strong, and the force is with you, and you are one with the force.
I have a question. Is Sean one of those people that tells you to buy a Steam game and then plays about 5 hours of it and then never touches it again with you?
No,
Okay.
Sean is the guy who's like he is still playing the same Steam game after we have stopped playing it for 6 months.
That's great.
As a matter of fact, at the moment he's playing Valheim. I saw it popped up on my Steam account there. He's playing Valheim right now.
All right, well, Cox, well, thank you for being on the show with us. And one of the reasons that we brought you aboard is because we know that you are really good with list building, and that's kind of be our main segment today, is talking about how to build a list, what you're looking for to build a list. When you build one, what's the first thing you do? Are there certain units that you can't live without? And do you try to hit that 2,000 points exactly? Well, there's so many more questions that we're going to go through. But Cox, could you lead our discussion on what does it mean or what does it take to build a good list?
Sure. I want to preface this conversation with a little caveat here. There are lots of different ways to build a list. Your way is valid. If you're having fun, if it's giving you the good brain chemicals, keep doing that. That's great. It's awesome. All I'm going to be discussing here is one way to do it. And if you find anything of value in this discussion, steal it and keep what works and throw out the rest that you don't. I don't like how a lot of times these conversations feel like this is the one way you do the thing. There are so many different ways to do it. This is just, what I've been doing for a long time, and it seems to be working okay. Because list building is a skill, right? You've heard 10,000 hours to skill mastery. It's not that, but it is similar. The first thing you have to do is accept that you're not immediately going to be good at it. You are going to fail, and that's okay. That is an acceptable thing to do. And it's desirable because that's how we learn, is through failure. So I am going to reference a couple of things outside of the Warhammer sphere here, because I think that we can learn a lot from other types of games of how they go about doing a similar activity, right? We're doing list design, and they're doing force composition, build order, things like that in like a real-time strategy game. Because in a lot of these games, if I told you the objective of the game is to take space, control that space, and that gives you access to circular points that give you points that accrue that you use to win the game. We could be talking about Warhammer. We could be talking about StarCraft. We could be talking about Command and Conquer. We could be talking about the original Dawn of War. There are so many different games we could be talking about. And so I am going to cherry pick a few ideas from StarCraft in particular, from a guy who was a content creator about 15 years ago during the StarCraft II Wings of Liberty era. by the name of Shane Plott. He did content as the Day 9. He did Day 9 daily videos. And he said a few things about StarCraft that I think we can learn from here. So the first one he said is, until you know what you're looking for, don't scout. And I'm going to change that a little bit. I'm going to say, until you know what you're looking for, don't look at the meta. Build your list to do the missions first. Because if you cannot score maximum points against air, you're not going to be able to score points against an opponent. So the second thing that I'm going to be stealing from Sean here is at one point he said the right way to lose is to never have had a chance. And what he was referencing was in StarCraft, which is what he was talking about, you have to make a decision. You make a decision between if you're buying combat units or if you're buying economic units or building buildings, that your tech infrastructure. And there is a push and pull between, did I build enough combat units? Did I build enough economy? Where am I spending my resources? Where am I allocating my points? And he said that the right way to lose is to have never had a chance. So you focus on the fundamentals in the economy so much that you just don't have any units and you're just dead. And your opponent walks over and kills you, and you're just like, gosh, I guess I have to actually have some dudes next time. List building for me goes like that. If you're familiar with, I'm playing Tzeentch at the moment, and when the book came out, my first Tzeentch list had 110 acolytes, and then the next list had a damage unit and 90 acolytes. And as we've iterated through lists, we've got to the point where I'm at like 50 acolytes and 3 real damage pieces. So you find that sweet point where you're able to have enough units to play the game, to screen, to stand on objectives, and still have the damage output to punch through in places if you need to. But the place that I start is, to make my brain chemicals happy, is to look at the list and see just how much trash I can jam into it before I start putting damage in. It's like, I want to see 22 units in the list. Like, that's the juice.
Okay, so Cox, when you're talking about list building and going wide with, as putting many units as you can, we're going to be taking objectives, right? We need to stand on circles. When you're looking at that, are you looking at it from a wound density? If you have, being able to just have a lot of wounds in your list, so that way, you can just absorb the shock of being hit. Or are you going to be looking at just having a lot of bodies, even though they might not be like I'm thinking about ogres with 4 wounds, or a cavalry unit with 3 wounds on it. Would you rather have that higher wound density or just more bodies physically on the board to do more screens?
So that depends on the game system that we're playing, because AOS has a lot more tools and rules built into it to enable you to play tall. When you walk off of an objective, the objective stays with you. When you deal damage to a unit, the damage spills over. If Scarbrand swings at a unit, his 8 damage swing has the opportunity to kill 8 guys. So in a game like Age of Sigmar, I will look at wound density a little bit more than I would in, say, 40k, where the damage doesn't spend over, when I start thinking about things like, can I activation lock somebody? And that goes to, while we're stealing from other games, let's steal action economy. So in a tabletop game like Dungeons and Dragons, you learn very quickly that if you have more activations than the thing you're fighting against, you have a significant advantage. And if the thing you're fighting against has more activations than you, that is a bad place to live. So when you start talking about 40k or games where damage doesn't spill over, one swing kills one model, you can do things like activation lock models in combat, where you just put more bodies in combat than they have attacks, and it's going to take them a full turn of activations to get that model back to a usable state. So in AOS, wound density matters a little bit more to be able to do that, but I'm still looking for places where I can activation lock people.
So are there any areas that we know of or can think of where there are good activation locks?
So anything where you're starting to get to like 7 points per wound is a pretty good spot to be. in Zinch, that would be like Pink Horrors. Is really the best one, I think, in Zinch specifically. Although if you can get to a point where the number of models that you're going to lose to the activation is less than the model can clear at an activation, then you're going to be doing okay. So it really does matter on like a model by model basis, kind of what you're swinging into. If you charge into, heaven forbid, Josh's turtle with anything at all, it's going to disappear regardless of what it is. At least that is my experience, regardless of what the math says. So you just have to make that determination based on it.
Now, Cox, do you have a spreadsheet with every single unit and its total cost and wounds and damage and all that out there? That's what I heard when you said 7 points per wound.
So you, my friend, as a fellow member of the Excel fan club, might not be surprised to know that I have a 43,000 cell spreadsheet for Sisters of Battle.
What?
Beautiful.
No,
That's
when
so beautiful.
when the most recent edition of 40K came out, I built myself a Sisters of Battle spreadsheet that calculated everything like points per wound versus I have efficiency coefficients for damage into profiles and all sorts of stuff for 40K. It's a lot easier to do that for Age of Sigmar because Age of Sigmar, you can see the wound number and the damage number on the sheet. So like you hit on a 3, you wound on a 3, it's on the sheet. You don't have to do an extra layer of math to get there.
Speaking of math here, let's ask this question. Do you try to hit 2,000 points exactly? If you have that 10 to 20 to 30, 40, or 50 points to spread, what's the best economic value for that? Jay, do you want to start this one?
Yeah, I can dig in a little bit. And Cox and I have fundamentally different philosophies when it comes to playing this game. Not from I default to Cox when I look at Hull and Cox. I go, you guys are good. You guys have numbers. I'm here for vibes. My risk threshold is so much higher. So that probably spills over to when you like list build. So my brain enjoys hitting 2,000 points on the dot. If I can get it, I'm like, dopamine hits. Oftentimes though, that's not how it works out in real life. So like my current IDNF list is like at 1920 because Games Workshop doesn't know how to balance my faction. So I have 21 eels and 4 heroes, and my points cost is 1920. And I don't know what's going on with my
80
life.
points is a lot that's a lot to sacrifice.
Yes. I don't know what to put in. And I don't want to bring in another turtle because it victimizes Cox.
So is it worth it to take out a reinforced part of the army to actually put another unit that could maybe score objective points, I guess? Is that the answer?
I mean, that's probably the right move. I'm really bad at having I forget, I heard somebody in the 40K community just refer to them as job
Mission trash.
Mission trash or
There you
job
go.
trash, something like that. And I'm really bad at that. I just build armies that are it's gas. We just go forward. I'm a destruction player confined to order armies because I just want to go fast. So yeah. It probably is worth it to pull my king and then throw on a set of reavers that I can just throw in the backfield somewhere and be like, anyways, they're going to shoot you every once in a while.
Yeah. What about anybody else have any thoughts on the hitting the 2,000 exactly, or what are other people's thoughts on this?
I can expound on the mission units or mission trash. I also come from 40K, like Cox. So building lists from there, you dedicate not a certain amount of points, maybe, to units that will complete secondaries, do missions for you, stand on objectives. Like Plain Space Marines, you're going to have a unit of intercessors that holds your backfield, stickies it, and then moves forward eventually. But for AOS, I kind of brought that with me. So the first thing I do is if I'm playing Maggotkin, I go put 2 units of Nurglings in my list, and they screen when they die. They come back and do mission stuff. So that's because they come back when they die. So yeah, it's a fine line. I had a problem the other day building a list. So we got points reductions in Magic for some reason. So I was trying to my list went down to like 1940, and I didn't have a 60-point unit to put in there. So I'm gonna take away a unit and try to get as close to 2000 as possible. Because if not, I feel like I'm losing something there. I'm losing something that could go do more damage for me, or something that can soak up damage for me, or do multiple mission things and go stand on the far objective. Because if we look at this current, not battle plan, but like missions, there's a lot of objectives out there. I know we have sticky and all that, but there's still there's a lot of places to sit on and score points on. So it feels like you need a lot of stuff. I think Hubble previous episode from that was talking about how the armies are like eight units, and it seems to be increasing more now that we've got those points reductions. So I mean, you see people with a lot more units on the table, and with those units you can go stand on more objectives. So you can score points. So I think there's some leeway to like, okay, let me get as much as I can out of this list, and if I'm at 1920, let me see what I can rearrange in my list to get closer to 2000.
So, Cox, in list building here, what are the units that you always want to be putting into your list? And from a larger concept, we'll look at maybe some army specific ones. But when I look at lists, I really kind of see what is a hammer, the anvil, so the defense, and really just speed and utility. When you're building a list, what are you looking at, and how do you see those pieces all working together?
Yeah, so for me, I tend to value speed more highly than I tend to value durability, because I'm playing so many units, I expect them to die. I want them to be able to, when I activate them, go where they're supposed to do their job, and then after that, I have fired the missile has been expended, the missile can now die, we have made a trade. But now you have to spend resources to take care of my little unit of trash that's done whatever job it was that I needed it to do. So in terms of priorities, I tend to value speed first, damage second, probably after speed, because I do, contrary to popular belief, Bryce, if you ever hear this, I do like to kill units on the opposing side of the field. I don't like to stand in combat with them and just lose. But I do value other things slightly higher than just taking every piece of damage I could push the button to get this. As far as like the way I value my trash, I do want my trash to be able to be very mobile. I love teleports. If it teleports, that is my jam. My other army is Sylvaneth. So Sylvaneth and Tzeentch teleports everywhere. If it teleports, you can probably get me on board. I think that probably the best unit to me at the moment is the one that does all of the jobs I need it to do simultaneously, and that would be the Goat on discs. So the Zenk lightened on discs, because they go really, really fast. You can give them run and charge. They hit like a train. They're damage 3 on the charge. And because I'm playing Tzeentch, I can just pick them up during your hero phase and make them not exist on the board on your turn ever.
Absolutely. And you know what? You got to take a look at Stormcast if you just want teleports. We have so many options for teleports. I believe it is the Lord Aquiller just can teleport on your turn in the movement phase. It just happens. It's great. I love that unit. And it also moves 14 inches.
Funny story. I still have not played a game against Stormcast.
We'll get
so we're gonna have to do that at some point. We're gonna have to do that at some point.
And you're gonna hate it. Yeah, and
I'll have mine Saturday. I'm doing Stormcast this Saturday.
I would say, it's funny. I just prioritized the damage more than that, but followed right up by speed. Because if you want to beat ogres, you just have to kill the butcher, and then suddenly they don't have random charge, and they're just going 6 inches around. Same thing with my Stormcast. If I got my Grand Hammers, and yeah, they go and they just punch whatever off the board. But you take out the priest for the teleport, or you take out the, porta potty for the teleport if they're too far away from it. A 4-inch move with nothing else around, and I'm in maybe a corner of the board, that is going to be way tougher. So I really do value speed, and I'm just including teleports into it because it's my first thing when I'm building a list is to make sure that I can be fast. I want to be able to get there, but my main goal, my heart's goal is to kill everything. So my heart's first goal is to be strength, followed up by my brain saying speed and movement is more important.
I think that's gonna vary army to army though. The list, what you prioritize, because for Maggotkin, for example, I'm not gonna kill you with raw damage from my units. I'm gonna kill you with disease. I'm gonna stick you in combat for 3 rounds. And I'm going to disease you, one damage you, all the way down to you're dead or I'm dead. And then I'm going to spread disease again when something dies. Either I die or you die. That disease getting spread. So I think prioritizing damage, it depends what army you're playing. And that can be said with anything. But, like, you have to read your rules and see how the army functions as a whole, to know what you need in your list. Like Skaven, we're not going to stand and fight with you. There's 5+ armor saves, most of the no ward saves. We're gonna die, but we're gonna have recursion. We're gonna be able to do those objectives like I talked about earlier, and we're gonna spawn back up and you thought you killed me, I'm alive, I lived. So again,
recursion is.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just another way to get durability, isn't it? Right? I mean, it's effectively just getting extra wounds on your unit, so you're just getting durability a different way. So it's more. Would you like some more anvil with your anvil?
I guess that's true.
I think of there's a top tier British car show from like the 90s and 2000s, referred to lovingly as Top Gear.
Top Gear, yeah.
It was the TV show for my pseudo frat. It was a frat. It was our frat. Anyways, and one of the hosts, once exclaimed with great joy, "Speed and power," and that is my default when it comes to list building: is speed and power. I want to go places fast. I want to hit things hard. Hubble is the more refined, intelligent version of that. I just enjoy going fast. So I just think of my last couple of lists that I built between Idneth and Flesh Eater Courts, and it's just anyways, I'm gonna go 16 inches and hit you, and then I'm gonna teleport 3 times, and then fall apart because we have 4 up armor saves or 5 up armor saves, and we die so fast. Flesh Eater's a little bit different, just with there's the durability piece of anyways, you did wipe an entire unit of Crypt Horrors, and they're back. Have fun. Do it again. At half strength, of course. That tends to be my default. And I used to value durability. I used to really value durability. Back in 3rd edition when I could just run 80 Namarti and they could all have, a ludicrous number of attacks with a 5-up ward and all these other things. It was just anyways, you just try and chew through that and fail miserably because I'm also bringing Namarti back every turn. But they took that away from us. They stole it. So now I have to ride eels around.
The common thread that we have all talked about there is we all explained how we deliver the damage. Every one of us explained how we deliver the damage piece. The most important ability is deliverability, because it can have infinite damage, and if you can't get it there, it might as well just not exist.
Gentry, How do we counter this speed and power?
I'm gonna.
Do you have a different take there?
Okay, guys, I have a different take on list building than most people do. Now, am I as successful as the best players? No. But do I compete with them? Yes. Everybody loves Magic the Gathering, right? And it's, greatest game on the face of the earth besides Warhammer. There are several ways to play Magic in regards to be aggressive, be life building, be monster generation, be like life steal, that type of stuff. I've always enjoyed the control aspect of Magic. And in Warhammer, control is actually one of the hardest ways to play. A lot of armies do it really well. As Tzeentch, for example, I would argue that it's a control type of army where I have my things that I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to prevent you from doing the things that you want to do. And the reason that a lot of people probably don't like this playstyle is because it can get aggravating. Is like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing. Oh, by the way, my army prevents this X from happening. I love Magic, and I think and not just Magic the Gathering, but Magic and Warhammer, where I love casting spells and making things just appear on the board and happen and do really crazy stuff that just like makes the game a little bit more challenging for the opponent, being like, I have this battle plan. Either I'm going to run over here and kill all this stuff. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And as a control player, you're like, okay, well, yeah, Cole, go do that. But in the meantime, hopefully I distract you with this other thing going on over here that you're not really paying attention to in regards to the long con, right? Like I love playing that way where I can, use, you have your hammer and anvil, but you also have units that are the bait, right? They're like, hey, it might not be a hammer or it might be, I don't know, but this is like, you need to kill this and I'm going to score a whole bunch of points because you did that. Now, like a lot of people, like the good players catch on to that strategy pretty quickly. They're like, no. I know you want me to go do that. I understand that. And then as a good control player, you are 2 or 3 steps ahead of that. We're like, I wanted you to think that. And now that I'm going to do this. And you try to reverse it. So I do like the whole chess match version of a control style. That is one of my favorite. Another thing that I want to mention is thematical quality of list building, where I love, and I think I've talked about this before. I love the Huracan whole aspect of Lumineth, where it's just this wind thing. And like when I list build, I'm like, can I just build my wind list and have fun with it? Is it the most competitive? Not really, but it's super cool and fun to play with. And so that's kind of where my theory of list building goes. When it comes to like super high end competitive play to try to win tournaments and stuff, I kind of like rely on the community because I think people know more about it than such as everybody here. Like I know every one of these people on this panel right now know way more about list building than I do because I kind of just I go with tomfoolery, essentially. So that's my take on it. Right. What is everybody's opinions on manifestations? Are they worth the points? How should you go with manifestations to your list?
I am in a fairly unique situation that both of the factions that I play have faction-specific manifestations that are required to make the function work, in my opinion. With Sylvaneth, you've got the walking tree, the vengeful skull root that serves as a locus for your teleporty guys, at least until I see the new book and see what's going on with that stuff. But with Tzeentch specifically, you need access to the Tome of Eyes to get access to your other spell list so that you can cast, both trees of spells, all of the spells. But as far as the normal manifestations that you have access to that you can take for free or pay points for, I don't see a situation where I would ever pay points to take any of those manifestations. I would just take one of the free ones and call it good if I was just going to take one.
I'm inclined to agree with Cox. Like I think that playing Idoneth is fun because we have our incarnate and it's just such an auto include. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw, this thing that's 12 health on a 4-up, 6-up that can just also tag people and do terrible things to them. For free. I'll take it every time. But before we had the incarnate, I was running Aether Rot a lot, which is one of the free ones, just for being able to re-roll charge rolls. Or if you have a wizard heavy army, like when I play Flesh Eaters, I take Aether Rot because it's the -1 to hit wizards, which is really strong. And I struggled to, maybe with the exception of Morbid, to think there's a whole lot of validity in paying for a lot of those manifestations. And even Morbid, I'm on the fence about, because like Suffocating Gravetide's great, it's fine. Purple Sun is, this is maybe a hot take. It's okay. I don't know. It has a huge like target on its back. I will say Morbid has the best manifestation in the game in that it has shackles that you just anyways, here's mortal damage. But I struggle with paying personally for manifestations.
What are you talking about? You got a 1920 list. You got plenty of space on the back end.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's 1000% true, and I will take that. But also, why would I pay 30 points for like shackles? And notice how I didn't even mention the Malevolent Maelstrom. That's how little it matters. And somebody used to be like, actually, Malevolent Maelstrom is incredibly strong. And I'm like,
and actually, Morbid's only 20 now, but
even better. So whatever, right? Like, it's fine.
Yeah,
but no, it's like if I can have that versus the Incarnate with its 2 tentacles that show up and say, no commands for you, young person. I know what I'm taking every time.
You know, for me, now that the Kronspine Incarnate is free, if you got one wizard and you just have one cast, you know what? Low magic army, great. I'm going to be bringing the Incarnate because now I can just say, here you go. I have an issue on the board now. If anything, I can block an alley. You know, it has a combat range, so it has a big base. I'm going to be blocking the entire zone. And also, it might just go pick up your little foot hero, and you're going to have a tough time with suddenly this thing that's out there on the board. The only issue is that it can't be your whole game plan. It's just a nice add-on feature, which is where I think manifestations really have shined. Everyone at the beginning of the fourth was like, now manifestations change the entire game. And if you don't own manifestations, you're gonna lose everything. I have played plenty of games now where manifestations have had minimal to no consequences to the entire game. And, I think that Morbid, definitely overrated. But for me, whenever I'm building a list, on points, I usually end around 1970 to 1990 anyways. So if I want a specific set of manifestations, usually that tax comes right in. Fine. But my personal favorite is Aether Rot because of the pendulum and locking you in combat. If you can't charge me and deliver that damage, that pendulum is clutch. Make sure you know that pendulum moves on your turn and the opponent's turn, so that way people are not caught off guard, and it can suddenly stop your, reinforced Vanguard from getting a charge off. They just get to sit there and look at you and beat up that poor pendulum, and then it comes back on a 6 next turn.
I will say manifestations helped me screen out my entire backfield against Cox when we played each other.
Until I realized that I could get rid of it. I was like, what do I do here? Randy plays 40K. He knows how to screen.
Yep, just cast manifestations, just screen, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I can unbind them or banish them."
Oh, wait a second.
Right. Suddenly, there's a hole there. Now my units are there. I will point out that Randy won that game.
As I recall, the story about this was like, Randy, didn't you ask, how do I beat your army? And Cox said, stand on circles.
Yeah. We had lunch in between rounds at the GT, and I was like, we found out we got paired into each other, and I was like, hey, Cox, how do I beat you? And he told me how to beat him, and then I did it.
That's a gentleman's move.
Yeah,
right there.
he did not lie.
We're on this podcast in the Feast Brigade. We refer to that as the gentleman's 200.
Gentleman's 200, maybe. That's friendship. That's kinship right there.
Dude, that's staying in, and that's staying in, man. Because people are like, "What the heck are you talking about?" That's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing.
The gentleman's 200.
The
That's it.
gentleman's 200.
Yeah.
Okay, so we obviously know that big centerpiece models are pretty popular in Age of Sigmar. Gentry, do you want to spend 500 points? What are you willing to spend? Do you want to spend a quarter of your army on one model and just to have it in there? Would you spend 500 points for Yandastra? That's the main question. What are you willing to spend? 2,000 points, I bet. But no, what are you willing to spend for that big centerpiece model?
Hey, here's my initial answer. Do I want the centerpiece model in my army? Heck yes. Like as a Warhammer player, I'm spending a ton of money on that thing, and if I do paint it and get it and get it out there, yes, I want that thing to shine on the table. Absolutely, just because it looks cool. Now, let's talk about, does it actually need to be in the army? Is it the most efficient? And again, I'm going to go back to the Randy element here. It depends on the army, right? Now, but I do think most armies do have a big centerpiece you can put out there and have a decently playable, reliable army. Like Lumineth, obviously, right now with Teclis, right? A lot of the Lizardmen, or sorry, I said Lizardmen. A lot of the Sora, what is it? Dang it.
Seraphon.
Oh man, I'm so old. Okay, a lot of the Seraphon lists out there are relying on, I know we see those Agrodon lists with shown, but we see the Slan lizard or the frog, right? Or some big type of thing. With Feck, we see Ushran.
Yep.
With Chaos, we see Be'lakor. With Khorne, we see the Bloodthirster. With Tzeentch, we see the Lord of Change. With Sylvaneth, they're all over the place with Sylvaneth. There's tons of centerpieces on that. The whole army's a centerpiece, basically. So, I do think yes, a centerpiece model is essential for me. I want to have one. But cost value is important, and I'm not one to talk about in cost value. So if anyone wants to take over cost value, by all means, go ahead and talk about it.
I'm a sub 500 dude, is where I'm at with my centerpiece models, and the homies can confirm that I used to whine about the Idoneth turtle costing 480 points. I was like, it's terrible at 480 points. And then they dropped it to 450, and it turns out that the turtle's really good. So I'm allowed to be wrong. But my sweet spot for a centerpiece is I would prefer a sub 400. If I could get a 360, I'd be happy. The 2-cast Idoneth Eidolon of the Sea. It's a sweet 340. Chef's kiss. So good, right? I will be willing to pay up to 480. Past 480, you gotta do some stuff. You better be making it rain gold. You better one-shot an enemy hero. I need something. I need cast 9 spells, be Nagash. That's what I need post 9 or higher than 980.
Here's the thing with AOS, compared to other games. You can bring a big centerpiece model and still work. You still have a competitive chance to win the game. If you're bringing a Stompa in 40k, Cox, are you going to win that game?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. It's 800 point model. That's your big centerpiece model, and it's probably not going to win you the game. But in AOS, we're looking at what? Archaon, Kragnos. You got whole lists dedicated around those people. So I think it's really cool in AOS that you can bring that big centerpiece and still be competitive. You got to build around it, but of course, because it's quarter of your army, so more than a quarter of your army, but there's still a way to be competitive and bring those big models. Now, there are feel bad moments because everyone sees a big model on the table. Oh, I'm going to kill that thing. All that hard work you'd put into painting that, I'm going to kill it. But, I bring the Glotkin, and with AOS, sometimes, I guess with any game, with the Glotkin, sometimes you roll good, sometimes you miss all your attacks, and like, oh, I just spent almost 500 points on this model and it did 0 damage. But yeah, they're still great to bring, fun to bring, and heck, just build your list around it and see how competitive you can be with it.
So this is a complicated answer for me. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of conversion here for everybody listening. If you are an AOS player, 40K would be like playing a 4,000 point AOS game. Okay, just think of all of your units as being half as expensive as they are, and that would be basically the 40K equivalent. I have played a unit in 40K that was 390 points. So I guess that would be 780 in AOS terms, effectively. So I have done it. I would do it if it does enough, because that unit that was 390 in 40K killed the world. I mean, it would kill 2 units in shooting and a unit in melee. So it would do the thing. I have considered doing it in AOS because there is an RTT coming up in May that Obed is being very mean to us about, and he's saying that we can have exactly 2 detachments, and you must have 3 reinforced units and stuff. Anyway, so I am trying to write a list for that, right? And I'm sitting there writing this list, and I keep leaving 200 points on the board because I want to take Scarbrand. So I, in my mind, for that RTT, I'm sitting here like, would I pay, Scarbrand is 390 and I'm leaving 200 points. So would I pay 590 for Scarbrand? Maybe. I don't know. It's AOS is a weird place, man.
Just a silly place.
I'm Scarbrand is 390.
Scarbrand is 390.
Why is my turtle cost 450?
It always comes back to the turtle.
Well, according to Herba, though, Scarbrand dies either on turn 1 or turn 2, so it's an easy 390.
My
Just
guy.
Keep monster trucks at 300, and it's perfect. Those are my perfect centerpiece models.
I mean, 300 is reasonable. I think 400 is probably the cap for me. Like,
wow.
Realistically.
Wow. So like a lot of people in here don't want to go to 5 or 6, man. Wow. So is it really,
like at that point it has to be doing so much work?
well then is it really a centerpiece, guys? Like if you like, is it really a centerpiece? Is it more like just like a mid-tier piece at that point?
True. Like, are you bringing Nagash? Are you bringing Archaon?
I don't want to paint Nagash. I guess I would be okay with painting Archaon. I don't want to paint Alariel because she's got her dogs out.
Sir, this is a family podcast.
Oh, she doesn't have dogs running around the base? That's what I thought he meant.
Griffhounds. The Griffhounds, of course. Hey, so as we close things out, we always love to give shout outs to folks in kind of the area and make you aware, if you're listening in and you're local, about things that you can do. We have a good friend. His name is Sean. He is starting our Blood Bowl League. You heard us talk a little bit about Blood Bowl earlier in the podcast. Starts on May 1st or somewhere in that time frame. And if you are looking for just a phenomenal, Diet Coke and some chips game to play, come on down, play some Blood Bowl, Just it's a family podcast, has to be Diet Coke. But shout out to Sean.
Or Bloodweiser.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There it is, folks. But real talk, shout out to Sean, because organizing any kind of a league is tough. It's tough. And he is passionate about this game, and hope to get some good support and some good games.
I would like to give a shout out or a shout in to our special guest, Jonathan Cox. Cox, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I am sorry that the first one didn't get recorded, because we had a great conversation on that one. However, I do think the one that we had on this one with you, again, stellar stuff. There were periods when I get to listen to you that I'm just in awe. I'm actually taking notes. So Cox, thank you for joining us on this podcast.
That was a pleasure to be here, and shout out to Josh's wife for sharing him with us. I still haven't met Megan, but shout out to her.
She exists. I promise. She's not a paid actress.
Yeah, yeah.
Has anyone ever actually seen Megan?
No, not at all.
Never.
All right. So thank you everyone for listening to Rolling in the Ozarks with us, with our special guest, Cox. And now we are going to ask, please, give us a like on Instagram. We tried to do Facebook, but they booted us because apparently I didn't do it right. So we'll try to figure that out at one point or another. And give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please. Follow us wherever it is possible and leave us comments. And we are wanting any feedback that you have. We would love to see anything on what we can do better, and tell us what you want in your list and what you prioritize. It's always interesting to see with Age of Sigmar what the options are out there. Anyways, we're going to catch you rolling in the Ozarks next time. Bye, y'all.